Billy Joel has a famous song called The Stranger, where he encourages us to take off the masks that we wear and be our true, authentic selves. But the month of Adar and Purim is all about mask wearing and mimicry and imitation and simulacra, which is a fancy word for all that stuff. And so is all simulacra and mimicry bad? If we look in this week's Parsha, we might even get the notion that pretending is actually good. This week's Parsha is about the Mishkan. What are some of the major features of the Mishkan? We're told that there's plant life all over the place. There are lilies and pomegranates and whatnot. And it's only a place of vitality and life and death. There can be no semblance of death in the Mishkan. The Sa'ir Azazel has to be outside. It's only the life-giving waters of the mikvah that purify the people that work in the Mishkan and the Beit HaMikdash afterwards. It's a place of life and not a place of death. In the center of it all is a tree-like structure with 7 branches. It's called the menorah. And Chazal tell us that the menorah represents wisdom. The Gemara in Baba Batra says that it represents wisdom. The Maharal, the Netziv talk about the 7 branches as representing the 7 types of wisdom that exist in the world. And there are the Kruvim, these angels, which the Gemara in Yoma tells us are presented as a man and a woman, potentially unclothed and embracing each other. Where else in the Torah do we have a place bursting with plant life that has kruvim put on the outside of it to actually limit access to it, a man and a woman embracing, and a tree of knowledge in the center of it? You got it, it's Gan Eden. The Mishkan is supposed to be a pseudo Gan Eden, a representation, a mimicry, an imitation of Gan Eden here on earth. One of the major differences between the Mishkan and the real Gan Eden is what we're told in Sefer Dvarim, that we're not allowed to put an actual tree, an organic tree, in the Mishkan. It has to be very clearly man-made. Why is that? Because there are 2 types of simulacra or pretending or mask wearing in the world. In one type of mask wearing, we lose our sense of self. We see value in the mask in and of itself. The mask is an ends in and of itself. And that's what Billy Joel is talking about, where we lose our sense of self in that kind of mask wearing. But there's another kind of imitation, and that's when we use the mask in order to access our authentic self, in order to access our Tzelem Elokim, spirituality, who we really are. And that's really what the Mishkan was about. It was a man-made structure here on earth, a kind of mask of Eden, in order to access God. When God said, you're banished from Gan Eden, and you can no longer access me through the real Gan Eden, we said, well, gosh darn it, we're going to create a Gan Eden here on earth, on man's territory. Hashem tells us to do that, where we can access God, where we can access HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The month of Adar, in Kabbalistic thought, represents this kind of mimicry. It corresponds to the letter Kuf, which is a monkey. A monkey imitates. And it's just the starting point. It's just a means towards the month of Nisan, which corresponds to the letter He, which is Hashem. We are using the masks of Adar in order to access the Hashem of Nisan. So we're doing it in order to access our Tzelem Elokim, our spirituality. We're told by Chazal that Eretz Yisrael is also in mimicry or an imitation of Gan Eden. And so during this month of Adar, and especially if you're in Eretz Yisrael, this is a particularly potent and powerful time to use the power of mimicry in order to access something very, very sacred. And so I hope that's what this month and what this Shabbat, the Shabbat of Terumah and the Shabbat of mimicry, a pseudo Gan Eden, does for you. Shabbat Shalom.